Hey guys, it's Tony Shoup with Audit the Vote PA. Wanted to put a quick video together and explain what our canvassing results that we've been releasing, what the data means, because we're getting a ton of questions about it. And it's not that it's complicated, it's just kind of hard to put it into words. So I thought a video would be a heck of a lot easier. And then you guys can share this. So as we continue to get results out for the counties that are still yet to come in, which there's a lot of them, we're excited to share everything with everyone as it comes in. You'll have a much better understanding of exactly what it is that you're looking at. So let me pull up on my phone so I can see the data from the first county that we put out was Lancaster. And the very first number that we're publishing, and we're going to do this for all the counties, is the total number of houses, the percentage of the houses that had election anomalies based on the houses that we knocked on. So you'll notice that we're giving you a total number of doors that we attempted. That's how many doors we attempted to knock in. So in Lancaster County, is this Lancaster? I'm sorry, I'm looking at York. York is worse than Lancaster. We had 486 doors that we attempted to knock on. And of that, we got 206 people to fill out surveys. So less than half of what we knocked on, we actually got a survey filled out and got to talk to somebody live. So all the percentages that we give you are based on the live feedback that we got from actually talking to somebody at a door. And in York County, 45% of the houses that we talked to someone out of those 206 houses we spoke to someone, 45% had an election anomaly of some sort. Here's what that means. It means that something that they told, whatever they told us at the door with the questions that we asked, did not jive completely with what is on record from the State Department as the certified results of the 2020 election. So that number, I've been doing interviews and throwing out the number of 30%. To be very conservative, because I told you guys that I'm super conservative on all of this stuff, and knowing what we were finding on the ground, 30% is like a minimum of the people that we talked to. There's election anomalies at the door. And in fact, in Lancaster County, that number is 37%. And in York, that number is 45%. So almost half of the people that we talked to, they told us something that does not jive with what the State Department has on record as a certified result. And that's a really big problem, because if we can't trust, even on the low end, a third of the data to say 40% of the data, how can we trust that the outcome was legitimate? Right. So as you'll notice, I went back and forth today with some of the Democrat reps who don't seem to care for the results that we're putting out and their questioning. And I welcome that. I want them to poke holes in our arguments and in our results. And I'm totally fine with that. It's just, you can't deny the fact that everything was on the up and up. The narrative that is crumbling right now that I think is bothering them so much is that they ran with, this was the most secure, safe election in history. It was free and fair. There was nothing wrong. And when you have a 45% discrepancy between what you're being told at the door and what's actually on record as the certified result, that's anything but free and fair. That's the biggest takeaway from these canvassing results, is we now have the hard evidence to prove that the 2020 election was not completely free and fair, and it certainly wasn't the most secure in our nation's history. So continuing, the next number that's going to be coming out on these results is the percentage that have a registration count discrepancy. And here's what that means. One of the questions that we ask them, there's three basic questions that you need to know that really matter when we talk to people at the door, is that we ask them, first of all, did you vote in the 2020 election? Our next question is, to your knowledge, how many people are registered to vote at this household? And how many of those that are registered that you know of voted in the 2020 election? And so in York County, we found 36.6% had a registration count discrepancy. Now that could go either way. So in some cases, we would ask them how many are registered. They would say 4, and on the records, there's 5. Or they would say 4, and on the records, there's only 2 registered. So that could go both ways. Again, we're not trying to allege or say that our results prove that Donald Trump won Pennsylvania. They don't do that. Our results prove that the election was meddled with. It wasn't free and fair, and it needs investigated and looked into. And in my opinion, decertified, because what was certified as the official results clearly cannot be trusted as that after you see this data. So 36.6% of the people we talked to either have some people registered at their house that they're not aware of, or there's people registered at their house that aren't showing up on the State Department data. That's an issue. The next bullet point is 23.4% had a phantom registration associated with their address. And what that means is somebody registered at their address that they're not aware of. That's what a phantom registration means. It just means that the person that lives there is not aware there's more people registered at their address than they are aware of. And that's 23.4% in York County of the 206 that we got surveys for. 13.1% have less registrations on record than the resident stated. So that's kind of the flip side. That's them saying 4 people are registered to vote in the house that we know of, but on the State Department, there's only 3 or 2 or 1, or in some cases, none. 13.1% have less registrations on record than what is stated at the door. That's a problem. The next number, 29.2% of addresses had a different number of votes on record. That's my favorite for 2020 than the residents stated. Almost 30% of the houses have a different number of votes recorded and certified than what the resident is aware of. So we asked them how many people voted from this address in 2020 that you're aware of. And if they tell us 5, but we go back and the State Department has 10, or they have 2, or they have a different number, that's what that tells us. That tells us 30% of the 206 people we talked to, there is a discrepancy between what they are saying, how many voted from their house, and what's on record as the certified result that voted in the 2020 election. That's alarming. 15.3% had phantom votes. That means people voting from that house that the resident is not aware of. So it's not just a person registered. A phantom registrant means that there's people registered at that address that the resident has no idea, is not aware of. But a phantom vote means not only are they registered, but they have a recorded vote from the State Department in the 2020 election on file. 15.3% phantom votes. And the last number is 13.8% were actually missing votes, which is even more interesting. So we would ask them how many people voted from this address, that they would say 4, and there's say no one that voted on record. There's no record of the State Department that anyone voted. So 13.8% were actually missing votes. So the person would say, give us a number, and what's on file from the State Department is actually less. Now, that could be a variety of reasons. And again, we're not alleging one way or the other that one person won or the other person lost. What this shows is that there is a huge discrepancy in the data that the State Department has on file from the certified results compared to what we are being told at the door. And I don't know how you can deny then that there is something wrong, that something went awry in the 2020 election. And we are going to push for a legislative hearing to get in front of the House and maybe even the Senate so that we can present our findings to them and that they can ask questions and they can poke holes and they can do all the sorts of things that they're wanting to do via email. They think I'm going to give them the raw data and give private citizens information out and addresses that we knocked on. And they're crazy because we're not going to do that. We want our day in court, if that's what it is. I don't know that it's a day in court, but we just want a chance to give this information out to the public. The public deserves to have this information and to know exactly what happened. My 4-year-old just busted in the door. Lovey, I'm doing a video. Are you going night-night?
Yeah.
Okay. Mwah.
Night.
Good night. I'm sorry. Let's go through Lancaster. She threw me off. 411 doors we attempted in Lancaster. We have 256 surveys filled out. 37% of the houses had an election anomaly. So 37% of the 256 we talked to, something isn't jiving between what they told us at the door and what is the certified result. That's a pretty big number. Not as bad as York. York is clearly worse, but it's still not good. 23.73 had a registration count discrepancy. I already explained what that is. 21.17% had phantom registrations. So people are registered to vote at a house and the people that live there are not aware of it. 8.56% have less registrations on record than the resident stated. So they'd say there's 2 people registered to vote here. And when you look, there's only 1. That happened 8.56% of the time. 26.39% of addresses had a different number of votes on record for the 2020 election. So a quarter of the houses that we talked to, it's not jiving. What's the certified result is not jiving with what the person at the door told us. 17.13% had phantom votes. That's actually higher than York. There were more phantom votes, meaning people at the person at the door has people voting from their house that they don't know are registered there, and they certainly don't know voted from that address. And then 9.3% were missing votes. So people would say, yeah, we had 3 people vote, but on the State Department, there's only 2. So I hope this clears that up. How long have I been talking? I wanted to do 5 minutes. I did almost 10. But that's it. That's what the data means. We're going to have Butler and Washington County coming out next. I don't know if we'll get them out this week, probably next week, at least by next week. And then we've also got, I've got my middle child now jumping on my bed. Jules, babe, I'm doing a live video. Good night. Snuggles and the blankie. Okay, thank you. I love you too, sweetheart. Never a dull moment, never a dull moment with the kiddos. The bottom line is things were not free and fair. Things were not on the up and up, and further investigation is needed. I do believe that we should decertify in Pennsylvania. I think these results show that we can't count on the certified result being accurate. And therefore it should be a decertified election. I don't know that we'll get there, but I think it's kind of obvious that it should be. I'm going to take a quick look through the comments and then end this video so I don't have another kid bust in here on you guys. Thank you guys. What the certified result for our household is. Teresa, that is, you can request, we have all that. So if you want to send us an email through, actually what you can do is go to, the easiest thing to do, if you haven't done this already, is go to our website and there's a tab that says, did my vote count? And there's our canvassing survey is actually online. So all the questions we ask at the door are on our website and you can just click the form and take that survey and we'll get it. And that's a whole nother piece that wasn't included in the results that we publish for Lancaster and York are the canvassing results directly from our website. So Vico, our data guy, is looking at those separately. We have almost 1,000 canvassing surveys filled out. So that's basically 1,000 doors that we didn't have to knock on and people that just voluntarily took the canvassing survey. So if you didn't do that, feel free to do it. Feel free to share that. The more of that we can get out, the better too. So I think that'll be a really interesting scenario to look at once Vico runs all the numbers and does his analysis on that. I think that's going to be really cool. We'll see. We'll see if we can get this legislative hearing. I see no reason why they shouldn't. You know, we're the three of us that spearheaded this, not including all of our volunteer canvassers, are property owners. We pay taxes. We either work jobs or have businesses. We're upstanding citizens, legal, and therefore I think we have every right to present what our work has been over the last year, our findings to the state reps. Why would they not want that information, right? We certainly have a right to be heard. And all the people that canvassed and worked really hard on this over the last year, we have a right to be heard. So we're going to push for that. President of my house are still. You saw the survey on our website. Thanks. My kids are cute. They're lucky. They're cute. Saw the survey on our website. Previous ones are still voting. They might be. And we found that, and we did a canvassing effort collaborating with some folks in Florida recently. There were people that voted in Florida and Pennsylvania with the same last name and same birth date. And we knocked on some doors to figure out if that in fact was the right person. And we found some really crazy stuff there too. I personally knocked on a door in the Allegheny County area where the folks were not aware that they had a ballot cast in Florida. They haven't lived at the Florida address that's on record where there's a ballot cast for them. They haven't lived since 2018. They sold their house down there. They moved up here. They voted at the polls in person in the 2020 election and were totally unaware they had a ballot cast in Florida too. So there's all kind of stuff going on countrywide, statewide, of course. And so anybody that tries to say, we just want to destroy the narrative that it's free and fair, that it was free and fair and everything's on the up and up, that could not be further from the truth. I think there's plenty of evidence out there with what's going on in Delaware County with Greg Stenstrom and Leah Hoops's lawsuit. Clearly people behind the scenes are destroying evidence. Why destroy something if everything's on the up and up and there's nothing to worry about? They're destroying evidence, not to mention everything that Greg and Leah saw actually on November 3rd as they worked the polls on election day. If you haven't seen their stuff, please go to their website. I don't want to quote it and screw it up. I want to say it's an electioninvestigationlaw.org, maybe. I'm going to mess that up. Follow them, look them up on social media. They're all over the place. What they witnessed on election day is egregious. And it's what was done to them in return for trying to get to the bottom of it through their county board of elections in Delaware County is even more disgusting. So we're with them. We are back to back in the foxhole. A lot of us all across the state, little groups, big groups fighting for election integrity. We're never giving up. This is disgusting. We're never having another 2020 again, not on our watch. So thank you guys. I'm gonna one more question up here. What is this? Wasn't there a huge problem? The SURE system is 70% of the SURE system, we were told after the certification of the 2020 election could not be confirmed. On December 28th, this is documented. The State Department contracted out with a different company to rebuild the SURE system, essentially rebuild our voter roll database electronically. They spent $10 million to do that. A few months after the company they hired was bought again by a Zuckerberg affiliate. So technically, Mark Zuckerberg, I believe, owns the company that is currently rebuilding our shore system voter roll. So there's a ton of issues. We have a lot of work left to be done, but what is going to come out, I believe, over the coming weeks with these canvassing results is going to shake the state. And we're looking forward to staying at the bottom of the tree and shaking all the bad apples off. So 15 minutes, way longer than I wanted to talk. I need to do shorter videos and get not as long-winded. Share this, get this out to everybody that you know, especially in Pennsylvania, so they know what's going on and they can support us and we can continue the groundswell of people that are standing with us and rooting for us and helping us in our efforts. So thank you guys. Look for more videos to come. Hope everybody has an awesome night and we'll see you soon.